Colossians 4 verse 6 says, let your word always be with favor, seasoned with salt, so that you know how you ought to answer each one.
When the clouds be full of the rain, I got the drip. When I get a lock on the game, I ain't losing my grip.
You know, when I was younger, when I be watching TV late at night, you know, these commercials, infomercials would come on, and they would just really try to convince you that you needed this product and that your life was horrible without it. You just needed to buy this product. Even when they're doing the commercial, they would show you, what they are portraying as you, using not using their product, and they'd show you in black and white, struggling, sweating, in pain. And then they'd show another image in color, vibrant, with people smiling, happy with their product. And they just try to really convince you that you needed their product. And if you happen to be convinced that, yes, I do need that ab roller, I do need that Snuggie, I need it, then you'd look at you'd finish watching the infomercial, and like always, they'd have a deal that ends within 20 minutes. And if you call right now, and you'll get an extra flip-flop for free. Anyway, there was a time that I actually saw something that I wanted. It was actually an ab roller. It was blue, and it had two handles on the side, pretty much so you can do some exercises for your tummy, for your stomach, in case you wanted to have an 8-pack. So I wanted an 8-pack. I think I was, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13 years old. Anyway, it was one payment of $19.99. And if you order now, I think you get a second one for free. Anyway, I convinced my mom and dad that, hey, you know, I want that ab roller, and we can all use it, you know. And so I saw $19.99. They asked me, of course, they asked me how much it was, and I said only $19.99 or $19.97. And so pretty much $20. But then there was something called S&H. I wasn't too familiar with it. S&H, it said plus S&H $9.99. And so I was told that meant shipping and handling. And pretty much the item cost pretty much $35. You had tax, shipping, and handling. But I want to point out one thing. That shipping and handling was very irritating, seeing it. But then I understood that it was very necessary. Because shipping and handling is pretty much you getting the product and it being handled well. And without that, without shipping and handling, you don't get the product. You don't get it. I mean, you could pay $500 for the product, and shipping and handling could be $10 or $5. If you don't pay it, you don't get that product. And in a similar way, you know, the quote-unquote product or thing that we as Christians have is the gospel. We have good news for every man, woman, boy, or girl. We have good news. And we are to deliver this good news to people. And the way we deliver it makes a big difference. The same way if, shipping is almost equally as important as handling. You can ship the product. If it's not handled well, the product may arrive damaged. Or you can handle the product well. If you don't ship it, it's like, what? And so shipping and handling can be compared to the way we deliver the word of God to people, or good news to people, the good news to people. And so as Christians, we got to keep that in mind. You know, this word, Colossians chapter 4, verse 6, it says, let your word always be with favor. It says seasoned with salt. And now if you're familiar with food or cooking, you know that salt can make a huge difference in a good way or a bad way. Sometimes when there's no salt, it tastes bland. It's what some people will call tasteless, and you really don't want to eat it sometimes. Or when there's too much salt, it's just like every bite is cringe-worthy. There's another story I want to share. A long time ago, I think I was maybe 10 years old. My younger sister, no, I was probably 11 or 12. My younger sister was about 8 years old or 9 years old. Anyway, we went over our cousin's house in Montgomery County, Maryland. I'm from the Maryland, DMV area. So we lived in PG County, and my cousins lived in Montgomery County. So my sister and I would often go over there. It was about an hour away, Now that I'm older and I drive, I kind of understand that my parents were making a big sacrifice. An hour to and fro is quite a drive, and sometimes we stay there late. Anyway, this particular time, my sister and I were dropped off, and we stayed there like usual. And our auntie Bims, she used to make us oatmeal. Used to be one of my favorite meals. She used to make us oatmeal, but this day, Auntie Bims was not around. And Uncle Rotimi was around. And so, like any uncle or any parent or husband would do is, okay, when the mom's not around, let me cover her duty. So Uncle Rotimi made us some oatmeal. And let me tell y'all, that oatmeal was missing one key ingredient that we always used, and that was sugar. And we didn't know, Uncle Ro, plated it, put it on the plate. And so, we dug in, and I immediately noticed after the first bite, I was like, whoa, this is nasty. And so I was like, it's just missing some sugar. So I asked the uncle, can we have some sugar? He was like, no. Oh, by the way, if you don't know, I'm Nigerian. So if I switch up on you, just understand I'm doing an accent of a Nigerian. So he was like, no. Then he said some painful words. You must finish it. You must finish it like that. Ladies and gentlemen, those were painful words. And we struggled. We're young, and when you're young, you don't really have discipline to just eat something. It's not, at least I didn't. So it was really painful, and it was years later. I realized that my sister was not eating it. It looked like she was, but every time she would take a spoon, she had a napkin in her hand. And when no one was looking, she just bent down and, just put the oatmeal in a napkin. And if you're familiar with a meatball, that's what the napkin looked like. A big white meatball. Anyway, why do I share this story? Because that sugar made all the difference between how that oatmeal was received. It was received in pain, okay? It was received in pain. And similar to sugar, salt can determine whether food is received joyfully or received in pain. And when we're talking to people, we have to consider the delivery, because the way you tell someone something, even if it's the truth, can determine whether they will accept it or reject it. And so, as Christians, this is a friendly reminder of Colossians 4, verse 6. It says, "Let your word always be with favor, seasoned with salt, so that you know how you ought to answer each one." And you see that last part says, so you know how you ought to answer each one. When you actually practice delivering your words, not just the good news, just the way you speak, when you practice seasoning it with salt, you will actually learn on how people receive things, or how a better way to deliver something, a better way to deliver a message. And so that's what every Christian should be learning each time that he or she shares good news with anyone. And so thank you for watching. This is just a friendly reminder to always put sugar in your oatmeal. And to always be willing to pay shipping and handling. And always have your speech seasoned with salt.
When the clouds be full of the rain, I got the drip. When I get a lock on the game, I ain't losing my grip. I use that ring on my weapon like it's on my hip. That spiritual clip.